my YouTube channel. My name is Emily the Mystic. If you're not familiar with me, I am an Akashic Records reader, a psychic medium, I'm an intuitive mentor, I do psychic development coaching, energy healing, all of the spiritual things. And this is my first video of 2022. I am so excited to be kicking off this year with some new exciting content, new topics. I'm really going to be tapping into my abilities as a divine channeler for source, a channeler for the guides and the Akashic Record Keepers. And I'm just so excited to be able to share this gift with all of you. If you're new to my channel, please make sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel. It absolutely means the world to me, and you'll be able to stay on top of new content that is posted every single week so that you can further your spiritual education and learn more and expand your consciousness. So today we are talking about a topic that there is a lot of information about there in the spiritual world, and that is the topic of what is the difference between 3D energy frequency, 4D energy frequency, and 5D energy frequency. And what does that mean for us as human beings and our evolution and our consciousness? And so we're talking about these different energy frequencies and how they relate to our own personal consciousness and how we can know whether we are in 3D consciousness, 4D consciousness, or if we're moving into 5D consciousness. So just a little bit of background, because it is really talked about a lot in the spiritual space. Our planet Earth, Mother Earth, is moving and upgrading its consciousness and its frequency to be in alignment with 5D frequency. And right now, currently, our physical world, Mother Earth, is in 3D frequency. So we are making this big evolutionary consciousness shift from 3D frequency to 5D frequency. And with that, some of us are moving into 5D frequency already as a collective energy, and that is upgrading the consciousness of the planet. So there are a lot of big terms that I'm sharing, but I promise I'm going to break it down and make all of these complicated topics really easy for you to understand and how they relate to you in your own life. So let's dive right on in and let's start talking about 3D frequency. So what is 3D frequency? So as I just shared, Mother Earth, our physical planet, is in the energy of 3D frequency. If you've watched my previous videos, if you follow me on Instagram, or on any of my social media accounts, you know that I talk a lot about energy. Everything is made up of energy. Everything is made up of molecules and atoms vibrating at a specific frequency. You have your own unique energy, and so does Mother Earth. So does this entire planet. So does the person sitting next to you. So does this pen on your desk. Every single object has an energetic frequency. And because of that, energy is shifting and changing constantly all of the time. And the energy frequency that a particular object has determines its level of consciousness. And what is consciousness? I know it's a big word. Consciousness means the level of awareness that that being or that person or that object has about itself. And consciousness is a big topic. Consciousness can expand beyond just, awareness of the self into awareness of the universe and awareness of other life forms and awareness of oneself at the soul level. So when we talk about raising our frequency, when we talk about moving from 3D into 5D, and we talk about raising our consciousness, we are really talking about raising our level of awareness and expanding our minds, opening up our minds to be aware of more than we possibly may have been aware of in the past. And consciousness is always shifting and changing. Just to give you like a really quick example of how your consciousness is shifting, perhaps yesterday you met a new friend and her name was Mary. So yesterday you met this new friend named Mary. Perhaps 2 days ago you didn't know of Mary's existence, you didn't know who she was, you didn't know anything about her or that she even was alive. and that she lived in your city, or, was an employee at the job that you work at or whatever. But now, yesterday, you met Mary. And so because you met Mary, your consciousness is already expanded. It's already expanded beyond your current normal perception of life because this new person is in your life. And so you've learned something new, your awareness has been expanded, and your perception has been expanded along with it. That is expanding consciousness, opening you up to learning new things. And again, that's a very, very simple example, but we're going to be talking about what all these different levels of consciousness mean and how they are applicable to you in your life. So what is 3D consciousness? Mother Earth, planet Earth, is in the 3D frequency. And the majority of humanity, I'm going to channel and ask and see what percentage is in 3D frequency right now. So they're saying right now we're between 85 and 90% of the population is still in 3D frequency. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And so we are moving towards 5D frequency, but it's going to take some time. And the reason why we're transitioning and shifting as a planet is because our planet is expanding its own consciousness, and therefore that energy frequency is allowing the energy of you and other people around you to shift and change and expand your consciousness as well. So 3D consciousness, and you're going to see me referring to my notes here, 3D consciousness is the perception of our reality and our physical world based on external constructs. So we are in 3D consciousness seeing our reality through the lens of our experiences. Whether we have learned about those whether there's information that we have learned about, or whether we believe something to be true. So in 3D frequency, we are constantly seeing our reality through the lens of our learned and taught behaviors. We're also seeing the lens of our reality through external constructs that we have been taught. So those could be constructs from society, those could be family constructs, family dynamics that you've been taught, those could be religious constructs, they could be construct of the government, for example, the construct of your neighborhood and the specific city that you live in. 3D consciousness is seeing your reality through the lens of what is physically there, what is physically present, and what you believe to be true based on what you've been taught and what you have learned throughout your experience living, throughout your life experience. So in 3D frequency, I like to use kind of this explanation to further explain the topic, which is that when you are in 3D frequency awareness, to you, seeing is believing. So you know and understand, and you can only know and understand that which you are taught and that which you experience. What is physically there? What is physically present? What you have experienced in the past, what you know to be true based on what has happened in the past. You believe things based on what you see, based on your learned experience, based on all of the places you've been in life and all of the examples that were set for you by others. So when you are in this energy, this perceptive awareness, this level of consciousness, you potentially, not all the time, but potentially and most likely, you are using these certain energies as your lens for your perception. When you are in 3D consciousness, you are using fear, worry, stress, lack, limitation, and restriction as possible lenses for your awareness. So the majority of people in 3D frequency, unfortunately, and I hate to use this word, but they believe that they are the victims of their circumstances. They believe that life is happening to them. They believe that external circumstances and situations have created their life and that they do not have the ability to change their circumstances. Perhaps they believe they have some ability to change their circumstances, but in reality, to them, the world, and perhaps even God, is determining what is going to happen to them in their life. and what is going to happen next, whether or not they're going to get sick, whether or not, they're going to receive money the next month. So when you are in 3D frequency, you are using fear specifically, and worry, and all of the different evolutions of fear as your lens of perception. And you are in this energy of, I am a victim to my circumstances. I am a victim to what has happened to me. I'm a victim to what has happened to me in the past. Life is full of suffering, and life is incredibly challenging and difficult. And when you're also in this energy frequency, you believe that you are truly separate from God. Or if you want to use the word source or spirit or the divine energy, you are completely separated and cut off from God. God is separate from you. God is outside of you. You are not one with God. God is an outside external energy, an outside external being who perhaps is judging you, who perhaps is calling you a sinner and casting you out of its life as a sinner. And so when we are in this victim mentality, often the root of our suffering is this separateness from God and this belief that we are completely separate from our creator. And also in 3D consciousness, we're constantly feeling the need to compete with others for resources. Again, because we're a victim of our circumstances, we believe that, that person is our greatest competition at our work. Or, they have so much money, I can't have money because they were lucky in life and they grew up in a set of circumstances in order to facilitate that wealth. So when you are in this 3D frequency energy, just to give you a few examples, perhaps you choose to believe that your life sucks because you got an fender bender yesterday, because you don't have any money, you're broke, your life sucks because you don't feel well all the time. You're constantly in this victim energy, this energy of resistance, and you're using your fear of your reality in order to fully pull you into that victimhood, into that victim mentality. So when I like to talk about different energy frequencies, I like to give an example kind of like a metaphor, in order to help this make more sense. So the metaphor that I like to use is if you were to pretend that there is a play that is your life. When you're in 3D frequency, 3D consciousness, you are the actor in that play. So you are the actor. What is happening around you is the result of your experiences and your learned behavior. And you can't really change what the director is giving you, such as, you can't change your lines, you can't change your behavior in the play. You are that actor in the play, and you don't really have a lot of say about what happens to you or what happens in your life. Sure, you believe that you have the ability to make choices and decisions, but at the same time, everything is happening to you. Nothing is happening for you. So that is truly the energy of 3D frequency and 3D consciousness. You do not believe that you have the power to create your own reality. You believe that you are the victim of your circumstances. And I'm sorry if that's coming off as harsh, but that is truly the case. And when we choose to move out of that victim mentality, that is when we break out of 3D frequency and when we move into 4D frequency and 4D consciousness. So let's talk about 4D consciousness. So what is 4D consciousness? So we've talked about 3D. We know that our physical earth is made up of 3D energy. I just channeled that perhaps 85 to 90% of the population is still in 3D frequency. So as we're breaking out of this, we're moving into 4D consciousness. So what is 4D consciousness? We break into this level of awareness when we kind of begin our spiritual journey, when we begin understanding that life isn't exactly what it has seemed to be in the past. I realize I'm connected to everything. I realize I'm connected to the universe. 4D consciousness is kind of the gateway, kind of the bridge between 3D and 5D. And when you move into 4D consciousness, most likely you watching this video, you're probably in 4D right now, unless if you hear some of the information about being in 5D consciousness and that's going to resonate with you. But if you found my channel, congratulations, you're already in 4D frequency, and perhaps you may be in 5D frequency as well. And so, when we move into 4D frequency, we're beginning our spiritual awakening journey. We begin to question our reality. We begin to question all aspects of it. Is my life truly what I have perceived it to be in the past? Am I truly the victim of my mean boss? Am I truly the victim of the fender bender that I was in yesterday? Or did I somehow create those circumstances through what energies are in my energy field, through soul contracts that I may have, and through learned beliefs that I may be carrying in my energy field? So when we move into 4D consciousness, we begin to release limiting beliefs. We begin to release some of those societal programs that we're running, such as I have to work really, really hard in order to make an income, in order to make financial abundance. We begin to release a lot of the fears, worries that have been pushed upon us by other people in our life. And we begin to realize that we are the creator of our reality, because we begin to believe and know that we are connected to divine source. We realize that we are all connected, and that divine source, that God, lives within each and every one of us. We begin to move beyond the illusion that is suffering. We begin to move beyond the illusion that is separateness and separation. And so when we move into 4D consciousness, we talked about how when you're in 3D frequency, seeing is believing, right? Your reality is created by what you see externally. When you move into 4D consciousness, believing is seeing. You come to the awareness that belief comes from within you. And you understand that your own perceptions create your reality, and that you have the power to create your reality. You're no longer a victim to your external circumstances. You know that you are the divine creator, and that your reality is an extension of your beliefs. It's an extension of you. It's an extension of you and your soul and your everything going on in your energy field. So we become that divine creator. So now that we're no longer the actor in the play, now that we're aware of what's going on, you realize that you are in this play known as life, and you realize that you're simply playing this actor, but that you have the ability to ask the director to give you a different script. Perhaps there isn't even a director at all, right? You realize that you have the ability to say whatever you want in your play. You realize that you have the ability to walk down the street and go wherever you want to within the play. And so moving into 4D consciousness at its purest form is moving from the victim mentality, life is happening to me, into the creator mentality, that I create my own reality. I create my life. I am a divine extension of God and source, so I create my life. I create my life circumstances. And so now that we're there, which hopefully you watching this video, again, if you found me, you most likely are there too. But as we move from 4D into 5D consciousness, what is 5D consciousness? Let's talk about that. Moving into 5D consciousness means moving into a state of unconditional love, a frequency of compassion, a frequency of pure light, a frequency of acceptance and compassion for all that is. When you move into 5D consciousness, you know truly, deeply at your core that you are from God or divine source, that source God is within you, and that you are not separate. You know this to be true. You live your life based upon this. You know that to your core, that you are not separate from God. When you move into 5D consciousness, you begin to realize that life is an illusion, that you are living an illusion right now. This reality is an illusion. And because of that, death is an illusion. Because when you cross over, you're fully connecting with divine source. And so life isn't over. Life hasn't ended. Perhaps you're moving on to the next life or the next level of consciousness, but you're still connected to divine source. You're still connected to all that is. And so with that, you truly begin to see your life from a higher perspective. You begin to see the illusions that exist. You begin to see the illusions that your friends, your family members have become tied up in and caught up in. You begin to see the fear that pervades our society, our culture, and the fact that we are controlled in the society and in our culture by fear and the energy of fear. And when we begin to raise beyond and begin to expand beyond that fear, we know and recognize that we are pure unconditional love. We're pure unconditional love frequency as a divine extension of God, of source. And so because of this, we begin to break illusions. We let go of the illusions. We let go of the illusion, perhaps, that life is unstable. And you realize I'm stable because I'm part of divine source. You break free of the illusion that I'm broke. You're not broke. You have the ability to create whatever kind of money you want in your life. That's up to you. That's up to you. You have the ability to live a fully abundant life because you are a divine extension of source. You have the connection to the divine mind because something has happened in the divine mind, and the divine mind being an extension of the Akasha, the Akasha being the Akashic Records, being the quantum library of information, the cloud storage library of information about every soul. So because there's energy that exists in the divine mind, it's possible for you. So because there are millionaires in this world, that energy has been uploaded to the divine mind. So that possibility is available to you to become a millionaire if you so choose. It's up to you. It's not up to your circumstances. Again, when you're in 5D consciousness, you realize that your circumstances are a creation of your choosing. And they want me to talk about this too. Know also that you are actively creating your reality in the moment, every single day. You also chose to come to this planet to live this specific lifetime. You chose this body. You chose this body and all of the things that come with it. You chose your family. You chose your home, potentially. You chose a variety of possibilities for your homes. You chose your voice. You chose your life mission and purpose and what you're meant to do here. And you may also have chosen some more difficult circumstances. And that is because your soul needed to learn whatever lessons that it needed to learn in order to expand and grow and expand your consciousness. Remember, it's all about expanding consciousness. And so when we're faced with suffering in life, it's an opportunity to expand beyond and expand our consciousness by learning a lesson and by learning how to heal ourselves, by learning how to move beyond what has happened to us and be able to heal from whatever it is that has happened to us in life. And of course, there are a lot of different things that come beyond that. We can have soul contracts that have created certain situations and circumstances. There perhaps may also, and I personally believe this, that there are, because we have the power of free will, that if you perhaps are the victim of abuse or the victim of a really traumatic life experience, that perhaps that person who was your abuser, perhaps that person was completely deviant in terms of their soul contracts, was completely used free will choice in order to do something horrible to you. And if that is the case, my heart goes out to you. So do know that that is a possibility. that people can break soul contracts, and that things can happen that are beyond our circumstances. But again, for the majority of us in the majority of cases in life, we are creating our own soul contracts. We are moving in accordance with those soul contracts, and we have the ability to create our circumstances and to heal from those circumstances. If you have been through some really difficult life situations, that gives you the opportunity to learn how to heal, and perhaps to learn how to use your healing experience to share with others who have been through similar things. So there's always a greater lesson to learn, and there's always a greater lesson of awareness beyond that. Anyway, I digress, but I felt like I needed to touch on that. Okay. So you are a sovereign being in 5D consciousness. You know that you have sovereignty to make unlimited, limitless choices and decisions in your life, and to create whatever it is that you want. Anything is possible. And with this, we move away from that energy of competition that exists in 3D frequency. We know that we're all connected. We're connected to Divine Source. So because of that, we recognize that we are collaborators. Because we're all connected, we're helping each other. We're helping raise the frequency of the planet. We're helping to expand the consciousness of the planet. And so because of that, we are meant to work together. We're meant to, join hands with our brothers and sisters and to create new things that this world has never seen before. We're meant to share. We're meant to share and try new things together and learn new things together. And so with that, I also have one more, side note to say. 5D consciousness to me is not unity consciousness. In fact, unity consciousness, so I'm going to just say this right now, anyone who chooses to believe unity consciousness, I do not believe that the perception of what unity consciousness is on this planet is not what Divine Source created it to be. I believe that unity consciousness is not meant for us all to share the same brain, to share the same mind, to share the same frequency. We are not the same. We are authentic, sovereign beings, all connected to Divine Source. We are meant to be unified in unconditional love, but we're not meant to share the same consciousness. We're not meant to think the same things. We're not meant to be a hive mind. We're not meant to share the same opinions. And so because of that, unity consciousness, I personally believe, has gotten diluted and watered down for us all to believe in this. We're all we all have to believe and do and be the same person, the same thing, which is not the case. Not the case. So in my personal opinion, being in 5D consciousness energy is being in your authenticity. Recognize your authenticity as you, as a divine soul. Not just you in this lifetime, but in your oversoul being, the energy that this soul being is fully connected to. And so because of that, you are uniquely you, and you do not need to act or be like anybody else. Anyway. That's my piece on unity consciousness. We are not meant to be fully unified in unity consciousness. We are meant to be unified in unconditional love, but not in thinking this or doing the same things or being the same person. That's a mechanism of control. So bear in mind, just make sure when you hear anybody talking about unity consciousness that you're on the same wavelength as them, because you do not want to be seen as the same as anybody else. Okay, so using our analogy again of the play, so we've moved from being the actor in the play to being a character in the play, knowing that we have the ability. We're the director in the play, we know that we have the ability to change our circumstances, to make decisions, to try new things. We realize in 5D consciousness that the play is merely an illusion. The play doesn't really exist at all. What it does exist are our perceptions. And because of that, we have unlimited possibilities available to us. And it begs to be said that the majority of people don't want to believe that, because knowing that you have unlimited possibilities is scary. That's a lot to take on. That can be a lot to take on for a lot of people. Having that awareness and power of choice requires a lot of you. It requires a lot of you, right? Like, knowing that you have the choice to make unlimited possibilities. What? Like, what would I do if I knew that? That can be really intense and really heavy. And that's where a lot of people stay stuck in 3D consciousness, is not wanting to require more of themselves, not wanting to require more of others and the people around them, and not wanting to have that freedom of choice. It's easier just to be a victim. Sorry, it is. It's easier to just let life happen to you and just kind of sit back. It's easier to just, sit back on your couch, right? Than to move into your sovereignty, move into your independence as a divine creator, and allow yourself to create whatever it is you want to create. Oh my goodness, I could say so much about this. And so again, as our consciousness is expanding and opening up, humanity is shifting into what many are calling the golden age, the new earth frequency. And so with this, know that you have the power. You have the power to create whatever you want to create, and you have the power with your frequency to activate the people around you to this level of consciousness. By you raising your vibration, expanding your consciousness, watching videos like this, doing spiritual work, meditating, whatever that looks like for you, know that you're helping to shift the conscious awareness of the people around you. You may already have noticed some subtle changes and shifts in them already. But know that it's not your job to do that. It's not your job. So I don't want you to attach any responsibility to that. But just know, allow the people in your life to shift. And the ones who do not want to shift are not going to stay in your life. They're just going to simply fall away. As you shift, others will begin to shift, or the relationship will start to feel uncomfortable. And so it's super exciting. And so if you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm not really sure if I'm in 4D or 5D consciousness yet, we're all getting there. It's all a journey. I'm still opening my mind. I'm still learning new things every single day. It's a journey. It's not a destination, right? And so because of this, how can we just continue to constantly challenge and require more of ourselves to move into the 5D frequency? I want you to constantly continue to expand your perspective on things, on life, and to question everything, to question what you see in the world, to recognize that everything is an illusion. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? What you see on TV, the local news? Yeah, it's an illusion. So just think about that. You're going to be like, whoa, Emily, this is way out of left field for me. It's a lot to take on. It doesn't have to be a lot to take on, because remember, you get power of choice from this. So again, question everything, nothing is as it seems, and embrace yourself as a unique, sovereign, unconditional, loving being that is a direct extension of divine source energy, a direct extension of God. You have God within you. You are so powerful. You are so magnificent. And you are so incredible just for being you. Just for being you. Remember that. And so thank you for listening to this video. This has been so much fun to dive into these complicated spiritual topics. I hope I made them easy to understand for you wherever you are on your spiritual journey. Feel free to comment on this video if you learned anything new, if this video helped you, whether you feel like you're in 3D, 4D, 5D frequency. I want to know. Let me know below. And again, make sure that you subscribe to this channel for more content just like this video. Sending love.